Our renovations could soon be coming to a historic Montana State University building. We'll share details about the project. Plus, a monthly event walks parents through car seat safety. We've got the details on how one fire department is saving lives. And the Rocky Mountain Laboratories in Hamilton is one of the few biosafety level 4 labs in the country. In this week's Montana Moment, Kevin Mackey provides a history lesson on how the lab got started.
Well, the time is 6:31. In case you missed it, the sunrise over Flathead Lake this morning, our Quatucknuck Resort and Casino weather camera. It is a gorgeous start. Clear, calm skies and cold temperatures. That's what we're going with right now in Polson, where it's 27. If you've got a nice shot of the sunrise, we want to see it uploaded at nbcmontana.com/chime-in. But you're going to need a jacket if you're stepping outside to take that photo. Temperatures 20 right now in Butte, 21 Bozeman, and Dillon 23 currently in Kalispell. High pressure in control. We have dry skies for at least 2 days, and then it's going to break down and our next weather maker will roll in. So make sure you enjoy the sunshine and the warmer weather. We'll get Missoula to 50 by noon. Bozeman still on the cool side at lunchtime at 45. Daytime highs today making their way into the 50s and low 60s across western Montana. Tomorrow will be the warmest day of the week, then big changes. Details in 10 minutes.
Renovations could be coming to one of Montana State University's oldest buildings on campus. NBC's Montana's Michael Santaskoy shares the details behind the $56 million project proposal.
The Strand Union building was built in 1939, and MSU is proposing the first significant renovation to the sub in years to revitalize the building to create a more welcoming hub of campus activities for students.
We're really hoping to expand what truly is the living room of campus here at Montana State.
Zink says ASMSU gathered feedback from students over the past 6 to 8 months. Some of their priorities highlighted from the feedback include building student engagement, adding daylight and new views inside the building, offering additional dining options, and creating student study and meeting spaces. To make this new vision of the sub a reality, students will need to approve a new fee projected to help fund the project. It's projected students could pay $150 per semester.
It's not $150 for one particular thing, like for example the Wellness Center was, but instead it's for a couple dozen different critical units and programs in the building.
This proposed project is still in the early stages. If the fee is approved, the project will go to the Board of Regents in May for their consideration. If the Board of Regents greenlight the project, the design phase could begin as early as this summer.
The design year is really where we need everybody's feedback. I want folks from campus, I want alumni, maybe potential students, folks around the state who also use our building, including in the ballrooms, to really get involved, to speak up, to come and participate in our design sessions, and to make sure that the next version of the sub is truly able to satisfy the needs of our campus for the next 50 years.
Elections for MSU students is this week to decide whether to approve a new fee to fund the renovation work. You can view the project proposal. Just find my article at the NBC Montana homepage for details. In Bozeman, Michael Santaskoy, NBC Montana.
A properly installed car seat isn't something to take lightly. That's why one organization in Missoula is doing their part to help ease parents' minds. Missoula Rural Fire District held its monthly car seat inspection to help parents ensure their little ones are safe on the road. During the event, a trained professional helps inspect, install, and instruct parents so they can feel safer on the roads.
The biggest thing we see when they come in here is, can we install it correctly with their vehicle, and then teach them along the way that you can install a car seat in pretty much any vehicle, and then you can see the confidence that they have when they leave this station.
The car seat event takes place on the second Saturday of every month. The next one is set for May 10th, and appointments are required to attend.
Unique stories that define our state's character. Here's Kevin Mackey with this week's Montana Moment, brought to you by Montana Chevy Dealers.
From the late 1800s through the early part of the last century, people on the west side of the Bitterroot Valley lived in fear of a deadly, mysterious illness they called black measles. We now know it as Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So Rocky Mountain Laboratories began research that's now global in scope. In our Montana Moment, Kevin Mackey with tick season.
The National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases oversees Rocky Mountain Laboratories in Hamilton. It's one of the few biosafety level 4 labs in the country.
That's a level of security, training, and facilities that is restricted to very, very special kinds of viruses like the viruses that cause Ebola virus. The vaccine that is so effective in preventing Ebola virus, and which is now a standard element of care in parts of the world, the guy that invented that is one of the scientists here, Dr. Heinz Feldman.
RML scientists have done groundbreaking work on West Nile and Marburg viruses, as well as COVID. The lab researches a number of infectious diseases that aren't level 4 but are still serious, like Q fever, salmonella, and chronic wasting disease. The lab's contributions to scientific discovery are known all over the world.
During World War II, all of the yellow fever vaccine, which was used in American soldiers, was made right here at Rocky Mountain Labs. The bacteria that causes Lyme disease was identified here in the early 1980s by Willy Bergdorfer and the people that he worked with.
But the root of all of those discoveries began long before the lab was even built. Trace it to the woods just west of the lab, across the Bitterroot River, to a tiny creature you can hardly see.
I like to say that Rocky Mountain Labs was built on a tick.
The Rocky Mountain wood tick.
This is a photograph, greatly enlarged of course, of a fully engorged female tick after a blood meal.
More than 100 years ago, settlers on the west side were falling ill with fever, headache, and a rash they called the black measles. Many died.
Nobody knew what caused it. Nobody knew what spread it. There was no vaccine.
But in 1906, the field work of Dr. Howard Ricketts, a young pathologist from the University of Chicago, and investigator Walter King made the connection. This tent in Missoula was the research lab.
During that spring and summer of 1906, they discovered that what was causing spotted fever in humans and killing them was transmitted by the wood tick here, the Rocky Mountain wood tick.
In his career at RML, Dr. Tom Schwann researched ticks and the organisms they transport. Tom took NBC Montana to Blodgett Canyon Campground.
Well, this spot, for me, has been a really good place to collect wood ticks in the early spring.
It is the start of tick season. Tom says Dr. Ricketts' work opened a floodgate of scientific accomplishment.
To understand better the distribution of the tick, the biology of the tick, what animals they fed on in nature, the life cycle, and how to control it. The control approach was multifaceted, where they would kill the rodents, which were hosts for the immature ticks. They would dip cattle to kill the ticks that were feeding on them. And then the third approach was to develop a vaccine to protect humans from spotted fever.
They used the old Canyon Creek Schoolhouse to develop the vaccine. It's now home to the Hamilton Players, a performing arts center on Ricketts Road. Ticks were collected to feed on guinea pigs, mass-produced and ground up for a vaccine. The disease caused by a bacterium was named after Dr. Ricketts.
An organism now known as Rickettsia rickettsii. People who were vaccinated became either protected or they got infected but had a less severe disease, and it greatly reduced the mortality rate.
By 1928, the new lab was built on Hamilton's south end. Here is an old photo of people getting vaccinated at the Darby Clubhouse.
Now, they don't use that vaccine anymore because we now know it's a bacterial infection. You can treat it with antibiotics.
People who contract Rocky Mountain spotted fever today can still get very sick and even die. They need to seek medical help immediately, but antibiotic treatment has been largely effective.
If it's caught early and people are careful enough to remember, well, you know, I got bit by a tick about 2-3 weeks ago, and tell their healthcare provider that.
RML scientists contributed to discoveries that the Rocky Mountain wood tick also transmits the Colorado tick fever virus, tularemia, Q fever, and tick paralysis. Dr. Schwann himself characterized the first outbreak of tick-borne relapsing fever on Wild Horse Island. Dr. Ricketts would die in 1910 by contracting typhus, the disease he was researching in Mexico. Dr. Bloom says the lab has come a long way.
He's sitting at a table. He's wearing a vest, a tie, and a fedora, looking through a microscope.
Compare that to the biosafety level 4 lab at RML today, where the floors and walls are airtight.
They're all wearing these positive pressure spacesuits. They're constantly being fed compressed air. All the work that we do that actually involves the infectious agent is done in a biological safety cabinet.
It's the legacy of that little Rocky Mountain wood tick that makes its appearance every spring. Kevin Mackey, NBC Montana.
And we now visit with Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster is standing by, and Kevin's letting us know as it gets warmer, we got to be on the lookout for ticks and dress, I guess, accordingly.
Right? That was, are the wood ticks really that big, or was that kind of blown up? Do you know?
I mean, you're asking the guy from Connecticut about the ticks here in Montana. What am I supposed to say? I don't know. I got here in what, October, so I haven't really had a chance to find out firsthand.
I'm gonna have to look up their true size. A live look right now, Kalispell and Missoula. We're starting out with clear skies. Now temperatures are definitely cold this morning, waking up in the 20s, so kiddos are gonna need a jacket out at the bus stop, but by lunchtime 45, 57 in that 3 to 4 o'clock hour, mostly sunny skies. For Missoula, bus stop forecasts pretty similar, 27 at 7 a.m., but we're gonna hit 60 as we head into that 3 to 4 o'clock hour. Tomorrow's gonna be the warmest day of the week. You can see that 3-day forecast on the right-hand side of your screen, but it doesn't show our big changes. We're tracking accumulating snow. I'll have everything you need to know in about 10 minutes.
The Montana State Spring Rodeo concluded on Sunday. We have a full recap when we return, plus another green jacket was handed out at the Masters. History was made in Augusta. We'll get you caught up after the break. And let's take a live look over Missoula above TV Mountain at Snow Bowl from the Community Medical Center weather camera. Chief Meteorologist Brooke Foster has your day planner right after the break.